Hey folks, welcome back to Max Nafe Horsemanship and Baby Steps. And a series that will probably be shortly over because there's not much new to do and not much you haven't seen. So a lot of my videos have been getting kind of short lately because, well, there's only so much to talk about. But I am going to talk about some things today, and I'm going to give you a little demonstration on some progress we've been making. And I want to show you how it works and how we achieved it. And let me go get a horse and I'll be right back, because this one in particular is of interest to you because you've seen her before and you've seen her reaction to things. I used her in the desensitizing video where I showed you how to use the flag and lunge whip, etc. And I'm going to show you something interesting today that I think is going to be of importance, and I think you're definitely going to want to see. And I'm going to talk about a couple things when it comes to training and working with your little horse or big horse, whatever. It doesn't really matter. Their size and age is not really all that relevant. All horses need the same things done. And that's something I like to try and express to people, is that regardless of the age of the horse or the size of the horse, they all need the same stuff. They all need the same care. They're still horses. And horses behave like horses. A lot of people will say they're big, unpredictable animals. Well, they're half right. They're big, or can be, some of them. Some of them are pretty tiny too. You can talk about minis, but unpredictable? No, not if you understand horses. They're 100% predictable. They'll always be a horse. Now, exactly what that entails, well, who knows? And each one is different, as I've mentioned many times. No two are alike. So let me go throw a lead on this one. I'm going to show you something. So I've showed you this horse before, and I also showed you how she was deathly afraid of this flag. Well, she's still a little wary about it. What I want you to know is the last video you saw with me using a flag with her, that was basically the last time I used a flag with her. And I'm going to show you what we've got now as opposed to then, and her reaction to the flag. Now, it's not going to be perfect. She's still a little wary of this thing, but I want to show you exactly what we can do now that we could not do before. I can take this flag, throw it over. See this? Take it, drag it right over her head. Can't do this with many horses. There you go. How did we get there? How did we do this? How did this happen? Well, it's pretty simple. We didn't use a flag because after that last video, that was, like I said, that was the last time I used a flag with her, because with her, she's sensitive enough and smart enough. I didn't really need to use the flag. So I just simply didn't, because of her adverse reaction to it. But as you can see now, even though I've never used a flag with her, and she was deathly afraid of it before, now, nothing. No reaction at all, including dragging it up over her head and over her ears, which most horses would freak out over this. So, how did we get here? I'm going to explain that. Time. That's it. You know, spend enough time with the horse, it learns that no matter what you do, it's not going to be a bad thing. You're not going to be doing anything to hurt it or freak it out, even if they are a little bit wary about things. Yeah. Just time, lots of time. And absolutely everything else that we have done led up to that. How she reacts to the flag now. That's because we've just spent lots of time with her, being cool and gentle, and eventually she figures out that, hey, you can do whatever you want. I'm okay with it. Well, she's not perfect. She still needs some work, and we are going to do some more with her, but I just wanted to show you the progress we made and explain to you how we got there. And the how is everything that we did. Everything that we did led up to that. We didn't have to concentrate on the one thing, because they're all interconnected. I've tried to explain this before. When you're working with a horse, everything you do is interconnected. You know, so basically, absolutely everything else that we did with this little horse led up to how she reacts to the flag now. And like I said, I've never worked with the flag before with her, because of her adverse reaction to it and because of her sensitivity. I didn't want to use it. I didn't need to use it. So I didn't use it. And until now, what you just saw, we haven't used it. We haven't worked on the desensitizing with the flag. And this is what you got. So it's everything you do. It's all important. Absolutely everything you do. And I'm going to talk about some of the most important training that you'll do in a minute too. But I want to talk about something else that I saw a few years back. I read an article of a guy that I'm not going to mention his name. I don't approve of him. So-called trainer, horseman, I don't know, whatever you want to call him. And he said when you're working with youngsters, it's important to handle their face a lot to work on your relationship. I don't agree with that. Nothing wrong with doing it if you do it right, and if you're at a point where you can. Because playing with the face is, well, it's more of a tell than anything. Well, let me explain. Does playing with the face help with your relationship with a horse? Well, maybe, might a little bit. But I wouldn't go there, because horses are very protective of their face, because all of their senses are there, and it's important to them, and they're going to protect it. So it's not something that, you want to just right away reach out and touch the face. But I'm going to show you something here. Let's turn her head a little bit here. I want to go sideways with this so you can see good. See, I'm going to put a hand on both sides, and I'm going to rub her. I'm going to put a hand underneath, rub her on top, and I'm give her a little kiss on the nose. Now you can see that was a little too much with both hands on and touching her nose. She got a little concerned there. But this is a tell. She's allowing me to do this stuff because of our relationship. It's not because I've done this. In most of my videos, you'll notice that the only thing I actually do is when the horse is good, I'll just touch it on the forehead. That's about it. I don't play with the face a whole lot. Although I'm getting to the point, our relationship with these ones is built to the point where I can. And in fact, even this one, once in a while, there was one day I was holding her like this, and she actually rested her head down in my arm and started going to sleep. So that tells you how much she trusts me. And did we work on that? No, we didn't. Not at all. Everything we do matters. How we do everything matters at all, because everything affects something else. And if she's all worried about how I treat her when I'm doing one thing, then when I do something else, she's going to be worried too. But if she trusts me when I'm doing one thing, she's going to trust me when I'm doing something else, no matter what it is. Now, one of the most important things that you're going to do when you're training a horse, any horse, is absolutely nothing. Yeah, you heard me right. And this is something that very few horsemen will ever mention, because most people are paying their trainers by the hour or day or whatever, and the last thing they want is to see the guy standing around doing nothing. So most people don't do that, at least not if they're getting paid for it. But if you're doing it for yourself, for your horse, you want to do this. Absolutely nothing. Because by doing nothing, you're not putting pressure on the horse. You just talk to her, rub on her a little, tell her she's a good girl. And only if absolutely necessary do you correct her. If she does something like starts crowding into you, something that could be a safety hazard, you must correct. That's an absolute. Which is why, even if you're doing nothing, it doesn't hurt to have the lead and halter on. You can see it's just sitting over one finger. I'm not even doing anything with it. It's just there in case I need it. If I do have to correct her, I can. And it's a case of being prepared. And, being prepared, I've mentioned that before too. And again, go back to the flag. With this one, I didn't need it. I didn't even want to use it because of a reaction to it, so I never used it. The little paint, I did usually have the flag with me because it didn't bother her. But at the same time, I hardly used it. Very seldom used it. It's there just in case. I'm prepared. Okay, and that's what it's all about. Oh, by the way, if you notice, I'm hearing an airplane overhead, so I thought I'd mention this, is we happen to be located almost between two airports. And one fairly major one, one's small municipal one, where you get those little single-engine aircraft buzzing around all the time. They come from that one usually. But we also happen to be right in the flight path of the big babies coming into the major airport. So yeah, it's not unusual to hear something overhead. And hey, while I'm on the topic about the air, let's talk about the weather. And well, you'll notice today I actually have a jacket on because it's not terribly warm, although now the sun's coming out briefly. It won't for long. There's another cloud coming. And that one I'm actually a little worried about because it looks like it's got some rain in it. And the forecast actually is for rain today, although so far there's only been a few tiny little spits. Nothing to be concerned about, but it could happen. And I don't want my camera getting wet because it's not waterproof. It's not a GoPro. And it doesn't like the water. Well, so far I haven't had any problems with it because of water, but my tripod froze up once in the cooler weather when it got rained on. Yeah. So anyhow, not a particularly warm day. It's not super cold, but it's not nice out. There's a bit of a breeze, and most of the time it's cloudy. And temperatures aren't that great. The forecast, of course, was wrong as usual. It was originally, today and tomorrow were supposed to be nice and warm. Sunny and clear and beautiful days. And that changed. And now it's supposed to rain today, and it's only going to be in Celsius 11 degrees tops. I don't even think it's got up to that yet. Last time I checked, it was only about 9, which I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit. Hang on a minute, I'm going to check my phone and see what it is. I'm back. I just checked my phone. Apparently the temperature has gone up a little bit. It actually is up to 11 now. And it's just over 50 for you people in Fahrenheit, freedom degrees or whatever you want to call that stuff. But a lot. Yeah, whatever. And see, some people think that stands for communist. I don't know. I don't care. All I know is what they tell me, and I convert for the benefit of those of you that are in the other system, which, by the way, there's only one country in the entire world that are not metric now. Oh, well. Anyhow, so not terribly nice, a little breezy, overcast most of the time, so hence a coat. Not a crazy nice day out, but it's not horrible, and it's just enough of a breeze, which actually listening to the noise the trees are making over there, I think it's picking up. But on the bright side, it keeps bugs away. Gotta like that. Not too many bugs, and horses don't seem to care because they're kind of getting used to it. Wind doesn't bother them much, and as you can see, this is a highly reactive, nervous, worried little horse, and she's not so reactive and worried and nervous anymore. She's actually doing pretty good. And like I said, some of the best things you can do is just nothing at all. Just hang out with the horse, let it eat or something like that, listen to it chew. It's actually very, very relaxing, just listening to your horse chew. Doing nothing at all unless you have to correct it. If it's absolutely necessary to correct the horse, go ahead and do it, because that's part of training. You got to do it. The rules don't change ever. The rules are the same all the time. But by just hanging out with your horse, you're not putting any pressure on it. There's no expectations. It doesn't have to do anything. And then it starts figuring out, hey, hanging around with you ain't so bad. I don't always have to do something. And that's what you want the horse to start thinking, is that when it's hanging out with you, it's not a bad thing. That's the goal. And so, like I said, some of the most important and best training that you're ever going to do is nothing at all. But don't think that anything is more important than another, because it all adds up. You saw at the beginning, I just showed you with the flag, her reaction to it. And also, with the rope, I mean, you don't see her getting worried about this thing anymore. And why? Well, not because I've been working with it. No, I haven't been doing the rope over desensitizing thing. No, I've just been doing what I normally do, and most of the time there isn't even a lead and halter on her, and she's just learning that, you know what, I don't have to worry. Simple as that. That's all there is to it. So I just thought I'd give you an example of some of the progress we're making and explain how it works and how we get there. It's not always about the individual items like the flag or the rope or the lunge whip or anything like that, although you can work on that stuff. Don't get me wrong, it doesn't hurt to do that stuff. It's kind of important because it connects to other things. On one guy, I'm going to bring her over a little bit because I want to show you something here. It's not super important, but it is important. Yes, I would like you to step over here, right in front of the camera like that. That'd be good. Thank you, dear. Good girl. Because I've seen different guys that, quite a few actually, that like doing this stuff where they throw the rope over and bring it off. Now, what's the point of doing that? Well, I thought it was kind of neat the way one guy explained it. He says, what you got right here is the world's smallest saddle pad. And if your horse cannot handle that, what's going to happen when you throw the saddle pad on? Now, granted, it's going to be well before this horse is ridden, but still, you've got to work up to that stuff. And we got lots of time to do it, but okay, so, saddle pad. Then you throw the saddle on top of that, and then on top of that, you put a rider on. Well, if the horse can't handle this, what's going to happen when you throw the saddle pad, then a saddle, and then a rider on? So you're working up to things. So what you're doing when you're doing stuff like this, it's not just about the rope. Although, it can be a garden hose, a snake, whatever. You don't want the horse having a meltdown over every little thing it sees. And in the horse world, there's going to be lots of these things around. Everybody's got one on their horse, so the horse is going to be exposed to them. And some people are a little careless with them. They don't handle them well. They're going to be flapping around all over the place, and the horse has got to get used to it. So that's one of the reasons that we do stuff like that. And that's just an add-on to the desensitizing video I did, because explaining why we do what we do. It's everything has a reason. I've mentioned that before long ago, that everything I do has a reason, and it all works up to one thing connects to another, on and on. And, like I said, she's really good with the flag now. Why? Think about it. And you might notice that your horse gets better with pretty much everything as you go along. And it's something I've noticed when I've worked with horses, is the more they learn, the easier they learn. Because in the process of teaching, you're also building a relationship with the horse, where the horse doesn't mind being with you. And if you do it right, and you're not freaking the horse out, it learns that whatever you're doing is okay. It just has to figure out what it is exactly that you want, and will act accordingly. So, all things connected, everything. Absolutely everything is connected, one way or another. And even though it doesn't seem like it, some really strange things are connected that you would think have nothing to do with one another. And it's just like you're riding down a road, and you don't want to get in an argument with your horse. You want a horse that's going to flex good. Is she going to do it today? Oh, not so good today. I haven't done this today yet, but she will do it. Now, you also saw me doing this with her, where she went round and round and round and round in a circle too. But I've also done it a couple times with her, and I know she knows how to do this. And actually, it was the other day I was doing this, and did the same thing she's doing right now. Just, I don't want to. Then eventually, all of a sudden, she turned her head nice and soft, just like she's supposed to. She knew what to do. She just didn't want to. That's, something you might run into with your horse, is an attitude. And that's what we're getting here. Got a little bit of an attitude going on. She doesn't want to. And I'm like, okay, fine. I'll stand here all day holding the lead. Doesn't matter. Got to do it. That's all there is to it. Oh, here she comes. She's coming. I can feel her softening. And she's going to come. You just wait. This is where you got to be patient, And you've seen this before. This isn't new, but the reaction we're getting right now is because she knows what to do. That's why she's not, the body's not turning or anything. She just doesn't want to turn her head right now. And I'm not sure what's got her attention over there. Oh, there we go. Well, something's got her attention, though. And I don't know what, because I don't see anything. But she clearly does. But I'm not going to see that. Pay attention. Pay attention. Pay attention. Are you going to pay attention, or do you want to look out there? I don't know what you're looking at, but there's nothing out there to look at. And I'm just going to keep doing this until she pays attention to me. There. You gonna pay attention to me now? Thank you. Now we'll see if we try again. There we go. Very good. Let's try the other side. You know, these are things that are, in themselves aren't necessarily, well, like I said, they're tells. Now obviously she's looking over there again. I don't know what she keeps seeing over there. I'm not seeing anything. I don't know if it's the grass moving or what. But she's not paying attention, which means there's no point in doing this. Are you going to pay attention to me, or you want to look over there? Oh, there we go. Much nicer. Look at that. Look at that. Very good. Very good. And that's not because we did this many, many times over. It's just because once she learns, which most horses are very good this way, is once they learn what you want, they're quite willing to do it most times. But there is the occasion where, she'll get a little bit of an attitude and say, I don't want to. That happens. A lot of horses. Even my own. So let's just do this again. Oh, she don't want to. She's not even paying attention though, because she hasn't even got an ear turned to me. There we go. Good girl. No, I don't want you to move. Good girl. There we go. See, that just reaffirms that rules don't change, ever. And although it'll be a while before she gets ridden, she needs to know this stuff for being ridden. That she must respond to the reins, because this is essentially the same thing. You can stick a bit in her mouth if you want. I don't use one, but you can. But it's the exact same thing as, are they going to respond or not? And let's see what we get. Oh, look at that. Beautifully. Beautifully. That's what you want. And if she balks, I'm going to keep doing it until she stops resisting or saying, I don't want to. That kind of stuff. Because it matters. All the time, Like I said, this isn't anything new, but what's going on is, there we go. That's much better. See, just by being patient that very first time, see how much more of a response I'm getting now? And I'm just going to, there we go. Good girl. Now, actually, something I haven't shown you. I'm going to show you now. Because there's something else I like to do once in a while when it comes to this stuff, when you're flexing a horse, is doing it on the offside so that the horse, okay, you don't want to get tricked into thinking that something's working when it's not. Okay? So this is one way to make sure. Because it's not unusual for a horse to actually want to turn its head to you to see what you're up to or what you're doing or say hi or whatever. So what I like to do, so I'm actually going to pass this around the other side now. And then I'm going to pick it up this way on the offside. So she actually has to turn her head the other way. And will she? Not bad. Not bad. Oh, she wants to move though. Oh, that's not good. See if she'll do a little more. Yep. I'm just going to bring it in a little more. She's moving though. I don't want her moving. So I'm going to do just like I did the other way, is I'm just going to go with her. No, I don't want you to move, dear. There you go. Look at that. I'm glad I did that. There we go. Beautiful. Give her head back. Good girl. So, just didn't get a chance to do this before. I didn't show you this before. I'm glad I stopped to do this now. I forgot all about this part. That's something else. I might forget things. So if there's anything I've forgotten or you think I've forgotten, feel free to leave a comment down below. There we go. A little more. Because she knows how to do this. Oh, very good. Good girl. Good girl. There. She went soft. And by going soft, what I mean is no more tension on the reins or on the lead or whatever you're using. And starting to rain again. which is not good for my camera. Oh, darn, whatever. But that's something you can do to participate here, help me out a little, because I'm not perfect. Sometimes I forget things, and there's a lot of little subtleties, that things that I do that I don't even realize I'm doing them. I just automatically do stuff a certain way, and I don't even think about it. So as a result, I forget to mention it. And maybe I've left something out too. I don't know. And there's, like I said, there's more than one way to do things too. For example, is when it comes to picking up feed on this one, the owner, they like to use a rope. Now, that's a common method. No, I didn't ask you to go anywhere, dear. Yes, thank you. Oh, 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 oh. Thank you. Yeah, it's a good little girl. They like using ropes. That's a fairly common method a lot of people use. I don't like to. I like to just pick it up by hand. Now, you saw me do it with the other horse. I had already done it with this one, actually. But I'm going to do it again, just to show you. I'm going to start with my hand on the shoulder. Just going to slide it down the leg. And she's almost ready to pick it up. Come on, pick it up. Give me a foot, dear. Good girl. There we go. There we go. There we go. Good girl. Now, you notice she put her nose on my back. I kind of tolerate that from her. She doesn't mean nothing by it. If she was prone to being mouthy or biting, I would absolutely not allow that. She would have got an elbow in the jaw. Because that can turn into a really bad problem sometimes. And in this case, I got the lead going around the other side. So if that nose gets too close to me, I can actually pull the head around the other way. And I am going, while I'm doing this, I am going to hang on to the lead for that exact reason. Now I'm just going to take my hand, slide it down the leg, and come on. Just going to tap on the back of the leg here a little bit. Come on, sweetie. Yep, you got to pick up that foot for me. Give me a foot. No, you keep your nose off of me. There's a couple different ways of doing this. There we go. Good girl. There. Now, she still fussed a tiny bit when I had her foot. And even though I don't trim this horse, I think I'm going to work on that a little bit more, just to get her a little better with her feet. Because I have pretty high standards, and I know the farrier would appreciate it. So that's what one of the things I'm going to work on. It's, like I said, there's all this stuff is connected. It all has a reason. Everything is important. There's nothing that isn't important. And it's like, well, for example, if they're good with their feet, even if you don't do your own trims, you're going to clean the feet. You're going to have a hoof pick, and you don't want the horse to pull its foot away just as you get the hoof pick dug in, because you may end up losing your hoof pick. I lost mine. I don't know where it went. I don't think a horse did it, though. I think I laid it down somewhere I shouldn't have. Oh, well. I'm usually pretty good with stuff. I don't leave stuff laying around. I know where everything is, and I mean, like even this lead, gosh, this thing must be 15 years old now, or more. Same with the halter. No, I don't think it's quite as old. The halter's slightly newer, because they do wear out, but they're not horribly expensive, and so I'll just go buy another one. Not worried about it. One of those things that you can afford to do. So there you go. Just lots of little stuff that we're doing here, and we are making progress. As you can see, she's pretty good with me now. She's quite happy to be with me. I wasn't terribly surprised that she let me drag the flag over her ears, because this is one horse that she actually likes having her ears scratched and likes having them handled. So, not a problem with her. Some horses, they're pretty touchy. In most cases, though, it is because they have been mistreated in a way. A common method of making a horse submissive, and it's called twitching. And there's a couple of different ways to do it. One of them is grabbing the ear and twisting it. And You will find that horses that have had that done to them, although they can be submissive sometimes, often don't like having their ears touched because of that, because they figure if you're going to grab the ear, the next thing that's going to happen is you're going to twist it. And I'm pretty sure that hurts. Although it does create an endorphin release eventually, and which calms the horse, which is the reason people do that. I don't think it's necessary. You've seen what I've got here. Do I need to twitch this horse? Do I need to twitch you? No, I don't. I don't need to twitch her. Not at all. I don't need to use a gum line or twitch or anything like that. There's different ways of doing things. I even watched one guy one time when he was trimming. He was a farrier. And what he would do is he'd grab the horse by the nose right in here, work similar to some twitches, and he'd actually squeeze and pull the head around until the horse calmed down, and then he'd go ahead and trim. It worked very similar to a twitch, except he did it by hand, but unnecessary in my opinion. I think if you approach things properly, you don't need to go that route. So anytime somebody shows you a twitch, you can kind of stop listening to them, because if they're resorting to a twitch as a method of calming the horse so they can work with it, well, they probably don't know how to do it. And it's not, hey, don't be hard on them. They don't know any better. Simple as that. That's how things work. And if you notice, there's many different kinds of horsemanship. And if there are some that you don't approve of, it's not because they're bad people. They just don't know any different. That's all. So don't get too judgmental about people when it comes to ways of doing things with their horse. They're not bad people. They just don't know any better. And none of us are born knowing anything. I mean, there was a day I knew nothing about horses, because I didn't grow up with horses. I grew up in the city. And never did like the city, but that's where I grew up. I grew up in the city. I wasn't around horses. I wasn't exposed to horses. I didn't even learn to ride until I was in my 20s. And owned my first horse when I was in my 40s. So, yeah. And prior to that, I didn't know nothing. So, and if I can do it, you can do it. I haven't done anything fantastic. Maybe I have a little bit more of an affinity for animals than some people, so it's easier for me. But, don't look at me like I'm some kind of special guru person. And well, maybe I'll talk about horse whisperers. Yeah, horse whisperers. Okay, I'm going to. Yeah, I just happened to think of it. I thought of it the other day, and I just remembered about it. I wanted to incorporate that into one of my videos. I'll talk about the horse whisperer. I did a video on this years ago, but it really fits into this, because if you think I'm a horse whisperer, and I have occasionally been referred to as one, I'm not. There is no such thing. There isn't. No, there's no such thing as a horse whisperer. Honestly, there isn't. The term horse whisperer was actually invented by an author that wrote a book by that title, The Horse Whisperer, which got turned into a movie with Robert Redford, and, well, anyhow. But the bottom line is, there's no such thing as a horse whisperer. It was a term made up by an author. It is simply like any hobby, trade, anything like that. People are just good at what they do. They have some natural talent and skills for doing it, and they work at it to get better. And they become extremely good to the point of people start giving them weird names like horse whisperers. I'm not a horse whisperer. I just pay attention to the horse, I learn, and I apply it. And it's really that simple. You don't have to be, you don't have to be anybody special. Horse whisperers don't have special gifts and talents that they're born with or anything like that. Maybe some of them are a little better. Some people are a little better than others. It's just a natural thing. Yeah, maybe they do have something they're born with. But being a horse whisperer, though, I think that's something you learn how to do. It's not something you're born with. You're not a special person. You're not a particularly gifted or talented person. You just work at it. So, no such thing as a horse whisperer. Just somebody that's good at what they do. And actually there was a time in history, if you were too darn good with a horse, you're considered to be a witch, and there was a good chance that somebody was going to kill you because they thought you were a witch. Warlock, I guess, if you're a guy. But either way, but good horsemanship's not a new thing either. There's been a trend over recent years as horses are no longer a necessity in our lives for our transportation and hauling our goods to market, etc. Now they're more of a pleasure thing, and as a result, our view of the horse is a little different, but also training has become a little different. There's a lot more natural methods or gentle methods and that, but they aren't new really. They're just something that, well, when it comes to horses, it wasn't documented. There weren't books written, and I mean, hey, the digital video, like the camera, the smartphone, I mean, come on, it's only been the last, what, 30 years or 40 years or something we've even had them. You know, prior to that, we had VCRs and things like that. VCR stands for video cassette recorder, where you actually recorded video on tape. And there was that for a while. Prior to that, there was film. That was really expensive, though. Not many people ever did that. And most horse training was simply word of mouth, passed down generation to generation. And there was very little ever documented, very little ever written down. But if you go back and you look hard enough, you can find the odd morsel that goes back many, many years. Apparently there was even some as much as 2,000 years ago. There was a little bit of documentation done on some gentle horse training, and there was an entire book written on it about 450 years ago, something like that. And so it's not something new. It's just not something we all heard about because, well, the people that practiced it were kind of in a minority, and like I said, if you're too good, you're considered a witch, there's something wrong with you, and you risk, if you got too good at it, you risk getting put to death. So a lot of people didn't even want to get that good. So the old school, harsher methods have been around for a very long time, and to this very day still exist because of stereotypes, I think, and lack of documentation. But like I said, over the years, recently in particular, as documentation and videography has become more common, we're being exposed to a lot more of this stuff. And we're seeing it happen just like you're seeing it when you watch this one. And so there you go. Gentle horsemanship, not a new thing. Horse whisper, no such thing. Getting a horse comfortable with things, just be nice to it. You don't have to do anything special, just be nice. Don't stress the horse. You know, like I said, a lot of your training, the best training you're going to do is nothing at all. And I do a lot of that. And some people go, well, what are you doing? Hanging out, spending time with the horse, telling her she's a good girl, correct her if I have to. You know, you saw me do a couple little things here. If she moved and I didn't want her to, I'd grab the lead and say, no, you're going to stand here. Or I'd reposition her a little bit, things like that. That's all training. It's all training. All of that stuff. Everything we've done that you've been watching, the entire time I've been talking to you, we've been training. And I bet you didn't even know that. So, even though a lot of the stuff you've seen before, no, in fact, pretty much all of it, except for the progress and how we go about things, and like I said, the flexing on the opposite side, that helps to tell you whether or not it's actually working, because the horse would be far more inclined to turn their head towards you than away from you. So this works particularly good if you got a saddle on a horse. On an older horse, you can just hook the lead over the saddle horn and just pull on it. I like to just, I'll rest my arm on the horse's withers like this, and then I'll just gently, and she wants to turn. Strange. She should know better by now. There we go. Good girl. Now just soften, and there we go. Done. There you go. One more thing we just did. All the time we're just talking to you. We're training. These are things that you can do. And I'm not going to stop there. I'm going to do it again. One more time. Well, we've already done it a couple times, but do it one more time. And this time on the other side. We'll just keep changing up. Again, I'll just rest my arm on her withers. and then just pull out, and there you go. It's not soft yet. I'm still holding the lead. There's pressure there. And as soon as she gives to the lead, oh, she's being difficult now. No, no, that's not going to help. That's not going to help. And it helps if you also hold out far enough that I still got pressure. She came back a little. There we go. There we go. See, she knows what to do. Well, now she's going to fight it again. It's okay. It doesn't go away. It's not going away. Better pick this end up before she steps on it or something. Or I step on it. That could happen too. There we go. There we go. See? There we go. So a couple of important things just happened right there. She learned that rules don't change. She learned I'm persistent. I'm going to keep the pressure on until she does what I want her to do. And I did it without hurting her. I didn't get harsh. As you can see, again, bare hands. Wasn't using a great deal of force, just enough. And that's a motto that another guy had. And I think I may have mentioned this in another video, but it doesn't hurt to mention it again. I believe his motto is be as gentle as possible and as firm as necessary, which is pretty much the same as my motto. At least, I mean, I always promote gentle methods as much as possible. But I also say you use as much force as necessary, but no more than necessary. So that kind of goes along right with what some other guys will say too. I mean, if you have to, break a 2x4 over their head, but if you don't have to, you ain't going to do that. And as you can see, I don't get excessive. Every once in a while, if she's not paying attention or she's doing something silly, I'll give her a little bump on the nose. I did that even when I was leading her in here. The little paint over there, she was acting like a lunatic, running around in circles, got this one worked up, and she started acting silly when I was leading her. For the most part, she was actually leading fairly decent, but she got a little silly, and I just gave her a couple of bumps and brought her back to me, and then she paid attention to me, not her, because that's what we want. But I don't get harsh. I don't start, two-fisted yanking hard on the thing or nothing like that. I just give her a little bump, and no different than what you just saw a few minutes ago when she got her focus on I don't know what out there, and she wasn't paying attention. I'd just give her a couple bumps until she paid attention to me, and that's all there is to it. So anyhow, I think that's long enough for a video for today, and we're just going to keep repeating things with this one and the other one, and eventually the only thing we got left to do is we're going to trailer this one. This one has actually been in a trailer, I think twice, maybe. But I wasn't there. I don't know how it was done. And it clearly was not a great experience for her because last time I opened up the back door in the trailer and let her up to it, I had no intention of trying to get her in. So you didn't miss anything. But I was just testing her a little to see how she reacted to the trailer. And when I opened up the door and let her up to it, it's like, no way. She didn't even want to get near the trailer. Much more adverse than the other one. So this one could be interesting, but we'll see, because like I say, all things are connected, and as we work with her and get her a little calmer, then there's a good chance that when we try getting her into the trailer, she's going to trust me enough that it's not going to be a big deal. So you'll get to see that, I promise. I've said that a couple times recently, because that's basically all that's left. So I'll talk about a few things, show you a few things on our progress, and if I think of something that I've left out, I'll throw them in. Stuff like touching the horse on the face is much more of a tell than it is a benefit. It doesn't necessarily do a lot, but it certainly tells you how much the horse trusts you if it lets you do it. At least that's the way I see it. Others may disagree, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it. And I do touch horses on the face quite often, but it's usually ones that I've worked with enough that they'll let me do it without a problem. And but I don't rely on it as a training method. Okay, so I think it's more of a indicator of your progress. because the horse has gotten to the point where she's not worried about me touching her face. And normally, if the horse is not really well trained, it will be quite adversive to that, or sensitive to it, or it don't like it, and it'll turn its head away when you try touching the face. When they trust you, and they know you're not going to hurt them, no problem. Now you saw her jerk her head back a little. It's because I brought my hand in quick that time, which it's one of those things. You move slow and you won't get reactions. Give the horse time to think about what's coming. And if my hand, it knows my hand doesn't hurt it. And so if I come in slow, no problem. If I come in fast, she'll jerk a little. So, but don't pussyfoot around your horse too much, or it'll never get used to, exciting things and flailing arms and stuff like that, because you just never know what the horse is going to get exposed to in the future. You might have to be walking by somebody that's got Tourette's and they have no control over the fact that all of a sudden they go, wah! See? Well, I dropped the lead at the same time too, but she didn't go anywhere. She's still right here. I'm going to pick up the lead. But that's a perfect example right there, the kind of things that you got to work up to, because anything can happen. And you never know. So you got to be prepared for this stuff. And that's something I've said many times, is be prepared, whether that means taking a tool with you or carrying it around with you at all times. You do what you got to do. In the meantime, you have a great day. Take some of this information, put it to use, working with your horse, and we'll see you on the next one. I just want to give you an example of some progress we've been making, and I thought it was worth showing you, because it gives you an idea what you can look forward to. And, well, yeah, it may seem like you still got a long ways to go, but one of the things that is kind of a hallmark of horsemanship is the mentality. I've mentioned this many times, is the mentality is far more important than your methods and techniques. And one of the things in that mentality is, don't look at how far you got to go, because if you're just starting out with a horse, you may seem like you got a long, long way to go before you get anything accomplished. But that can actually go a lot faster than you think. And then if you take your mentality and just kind of turn it around a little bit and look at how far you've come. Extremely important. Pay attention. Remember don't worry about how far you got to go, because you never really get there. There's always something you can just make a little better, or one more thing you can teach the horse down the road somewhere. I don't know. It all depends on your own agenda and what you got in mind, but don't worry about that stuff. It'll come in time, but just look at how far you've come. That scared, worried horse that didn't trust you, that you didn't know a thing when you got it. You've probably come a lot further than you realize. If you stop and think about all the things that you've accomplished with your horse, you might start realizing that, well, you know what? Maybe I have actually come quite a ways. Because it might not seem like much some days, but if you take all these tiny little things and add them all up, and then you end up with an awful lot. Now, I just want to show you with this one some of the things that we've accomplished, how far we've come with this one. Again, each one's different stuff. I just happen to be doing stuff with her, and she was doing it so well I thought I'd show you, because it's definitely better than it was. And it is an example of, I wanted to show you how the side pass gets better. Now, as you can see, I'm not even touching her. My hand is about a foot away from her right now. That's progression, because she knows what comes next. I'm going to touch her. Well, this one, she's actually pretty good at this, so let's go back the other way now. Again, my hand is not anywhere near her, and you see how she's doing this. Now, I also said that getting a horse to side pass away from you is the easy part. Getting it side pass towards you is a lot trickier. But I'm going to show you how good she's gotten at that too, because we just did that, and hopefully she's going to do it again for me. Good girl. Well, there you go. I'm not even sure how much in camera we were for that. That didn't quite go the way I wanted to. I'm going to do it one more time. I'll just bring her back over here, and then we'll back off a little straighter so that you can see. Actually, we'll just do it right here at a different angle. And you can see clearly I'm not touching her at all. There's no tools, there's no whip, sticks, nothing. Good girl. That's enough. Okay. We'll be side pass you back over the other way. Move you back over now. There we go. Now we're back in the middle somewhere. But, you know, that's what you can come up with eventually. It takes time. You know, go back, watch those videos again where we first taught her, you know, and you see the difference between then and now. And, you know, we haven't done this an incredible amount because we had so many different things to do with her. And I spent a lot of time just standing around talking to the camera too. You know, don't get much done sometimes, but, you know, just gives you an example of, you know, you can progress and things do get better always. And I think in total, we've, you know, I haven't really kept track, but probably somewhere in the neighborhood of about 30 hours we've spent with this horse now. And this is what you can accomplish. Now, if you were to work with your horse an hour a day every day, that's 1 month. You could get that far in 1 month. And that's not any great deal of skill or talent. Just be thorough, take your time, go slow, and it's amazing what you can accomplish, really. And so, well, anyhow, I'll leave you off with that one. Just thought I'd show it to you. We're talking about progress today that we've been making, because there isn't a ton of other stuff to show you, but I just thought showing you some progress, real life progress, is probably important and a little encouraging to you, because you're going to be going, geez, I'm not doing very good with my horse. I haven't done much. I haven't accomplished anything. Yeah, you probably have. You probably accomplished way more than you think you have. Because if your horse isn't going ballistic every time you ask it to do something, you've probably accomplished quite a bit. And in the case of this one, well, you just saw our side passing has improved. And this means that, you know, now if I had her in a box stall and I wanted to get around the other side and want her to move over, I just do this and she's going to step sideways for me. And now I can get around the other side of her. See how easy that is? And it's functional. This isn't just, you know, gimmicks and tricks. These are functional things you can use that aid you in the mobility of your horse to allow you to get around all sides of it when you need to do something. I mean, hey, all of a sudden I want to look at that foot because it needs some attention. Well, I need her to move away from the wall. Well, we can do that. Or there already is enough room for me to get here, but I want her over a little further. Well, then we can just ask her to move over. It's very simple stuff, but it's all useful. And that's why I want to encourage you, don't get frustrated, don't give up. Think about how far you've come. Never mind about how far you got to go, because you'll get there eventually, and, well, actually, you never really do get there. It's an ongoing thing. You just keep going and going and going. Never really ends. Doesn't matter how old you or the horse get. Never really ends. There's always some progress to be made. So anyhow, that's it for now. And we'll see you on the next one. Have a good day now. Bye.